Good morning, everyone. I'm Shotade Olusegun. In today's video, we're going to dissect how to manifest anything with FOE. Well, probably you've been watching some videos on YouTube and you might think that this topic is spooky, but I'm telling you that it is not spooky in any way. So I'm going to actually dissect and we're going to get the reality. So I'm going to briefly introduce myself. And that FOE that we have there is formula of everything. So God has empowered me to develop this formula to, explain and illustrate the reality of the universe. And that is what we're going to use in this particular video. Then you're going to get the visual representation of what reality is all about, and we're basically going to use that to manifest whatever it is that we need to manifest. Another thing I want you to know is that in the universe, we have CPT symmetry, and we know that the CPT symmetry is being broken, and that is telling us that there is asymmetric nature of the universe alongside with the symmetric nature. We have this matter antimatter, asymmetric nature, which is matter antimatter enigma. So we're going to see how antimatter is, useful in this case, and then that is going to even, explain more about that matter antimatter enigma. So now let's just quickly dive into it. Well, we're going to use this particular diagram, which is, time energy wave model. So we have the time trajectory moving inversely to energy trajectory, and that is what illustrates the title and the reality of the universe. So basically you can see that we have a couple of numbers right there, and then the numbers we have as eliminated that notion of uncertainty. So basically, I'm going to quickly explain the figures that we have here, and then you have idea of what we have. So here we have real mass worth of the electron, and the value is 9.109 times 10 raised power minus 31 kilogram. We have that. So once we put that inside the formula, so this formula is a kind of formula that feeds back on itself. You can put an input to get output and use the output to get further output. So now you can use what you know to get what you don't know by supplying this electrons mass. Then we're going to get its counterpart, which is the classical counterpart, and that figure is 2,277,250,000 kilograms. So the formula is to unify quantum mechanics to classical mechanics. So now by having that, then we're able to get that relationship, that unification. But there is something we discover by applying this formula, which is having suspension at classical level and even at quantum level. So the suspension we have is tagged as arbitrary suspension, and so the suspension could as well contribute to the feeling of illusion that we usually have when we observe things. You understand? And I'm going to actually explain more on that arbitrary suspension, because we're going to see how we are able to have measured infinity to arrive at a finite universe. So we have measured infinity, and as well we have measured instancy. So now to get that, basically we know that here we have the wave amplitude at quantum level, and if you put this inside the formula, we're going to get this tiny fraction of electron, which is 0.00000001423, and that gives us a kind of intuition that electromagnetic field, because in this quantum region we have electromagnetic field, while in the classical region we have gravitational field. And so you can tell by getting to know that we have mass convergence at classical realm, and then we have decaying of mass at quantum level. So we have that relativistically to, each other. So by that, we can get to know that electromagnetic field at quantum level decays mass. So probably the electron is being decayed to that tiny fraction that we have, which is this. So now that tiny fraction that we have, could serve as something that is connected to the real mass worth of electron that we have here. Now the question is, this electrons mass worth that we have, what could we call that? So we're going to get what that real electron is shortly. I mean, very soon. So now, for us to get how we can, label this, then we need to know that as the universe is expanding, the electromagnetic field decays electrons or particles that we have in order to generate radiation, and that radiation, facilitate the mechanical system of mass convergence at classical level. That is the system of the universe. So by having that, then we know that another electron will be generated outside the system for us to have a kind of balanced motion. And so by having that, we have this real mass worth of electron outside the system. Now, when it gets to the present phase, now don't forget we have this tiny line to be present phase, while the expansion phase is the past phase, while the contracting phase is the future phase. So we can as well call the contracting phase, we can call it a black hole, and then the present phase can be likened to event horizon, and so we have the past right there. So now we know that this linear trajectory of the light gives us constancy of light speed, and basically we have this equilateral triangle. That means that it is same by all its sides. So that is the shape that we have. Now, why do we have flipped version of the equilateral triangle? So by having the flipped version, that is actually pointing to the parity, which is the P of the CPT, the parity, which is the space, space symmetric nature. You understand? So then we're going to look at how we arrive at the inverse version by how we usually have inverse version of, the parallel trajectory in the universe. So now we know we have something outside. So if I'm to go more into how we use this formula of everything, I can even show you, explain how we come about this triangle, but that is outside the scope of this particular video. So if you want to know more about that, you can get my previous uploads in my channel. Okay, so now for us to label this, we know that by having another electron outside the system, that is actually telling us that we have electron in the negative energy state. And if you have electron in the negative energy state, that is telling you that electron emits energy infinitely. So you can see that we have that notion of infinite. So now, how can we then get finite measurement such that we have, measured instancy and measured infinity to arrive at finite universe? So by having the electron right here, when it gets to the present phase, we are at the phase where we are at the low energy state at quantum level and at classical level. So now the stretch of the constancy of light is at limit, and as a result of that, we have the trajectory of time from the suspension at classical level then down to the quantum level. So time traversed the universe instantly, but because of the the length that we have in that trajectory, and because of this outside electron that time must get connected to, then we have the instancy of time speed to be measured. And as a result of that, time is able to break this quantum suspension to connect to the electron, the real electron that we have right here. Now, don't forget that the electron inside the system has its worth to be so tiny. So it is not the worth, it is not the actual worth of electron. And what that is telling us is that when electron is in motion, electron is so tiny, and as a result of that, electron can actually be in different places at the same time. So because it is so tiny, and that could give you the intuition behind the electron orbiting the nucleus, you understand, and being in many places at the same time. So now, time, we have spontaneous symmetry breaking right at the present phase, and it is time that can actually move at that point in time because energy is low. So time now breaks the suspension to connect to this electron. Now, the moment time breaks this suspension, then the sea of infinity that we have as a result of electron being in the negative energy state is being collapsed. And as a result of that, we have O, because electron is fermion. For electron to travel beyond this time energy wave constraint, then that we should have a positive energy. And by having O as a result of that huge radiation that we have when time breaks this suspension, then that always have as positive energy, and then the electron becomes positron at that instant. And so by becoming a positron, then the positron can travel back into the system, and there we can have the time reverse system. So it is only outside the time energy wave constraint that we now have the trajectory of time to be backward, and then you can see that the positron will travel back into the system time energy wave model. And then for it to be in such a compressed space with such mass, then it will become unstable, and that will lead to decaying of its mass, and that decaying of the mass will propel momentum inside the black hole. So that is how to quickly explain this. And by getting to know that we have antimatter outside the system of the matter, then we know that the antimatter is operational in the black hole, which is this particular phase, the future phase. So the antimatter is not operational in the past phase, and that is why we could exist, because if antimatter and matter annihilate each other, then there won't be formation of life. In fact, there won't be expansion of the universe as we have it. And we can see that the moment positron, which is the anti-electron, gets into the system, we then start having the contraction of the system. So that is that. So by getting to know this real fact about the universe, then we can get to explain and even get the necessary tools to arrive at how we can manifest anything. So now, for us to now dive deep into this, I want us to use this particular diagram. Well, this diagram is the mechanical system of manifestation. So now, for you to manifest anything at all, then you have to be in three phases. You have to be in the be phase, you have to be in the do phase, then you have to be in the have phase. Now, the way universe works is quite different from what we are so conversant with. Universe works in such a way that You need to be what you want to become before you can actually have that achievement. So that is why we have the be phase as the first phase, and then the do phase as the second phase, and then the have phase as the final phase. So now the B phase is the visual blueprint. Visual blueprint. Then the do phase is the action slash implementation phase. So the have phase is the achievement and possession phase. So now, once we understand that we need to move from the B to do, we need to move from the B through the do to have, then we are actually on the right path to manifest anything. You understand? So now, universe is being structured in such a way that you must have the virtual blueprint of what you want to become, and then the action phase we follow the necessary trajectory to arrive at the ideal achievement based on the virtual blueprint. So now for me to define what be, what do, and what have is, I will define B as, based on the model that we have been using, which is time energy wave model. I will define B to be, you are the constructive structure of time. You are the constructive structure of time relativistic scaling to energy as a controlled mental attitude of worth instantiation at any point in time. So the B, what you be, the visual blueprint is the constructive structure of time relativistic scaling to energy as a controlled mental attitude of worth instantiation at any point in time. So you have your framework in line with what you want to become, and as a result of that, you will definitely achieve that. So you need to structure your framework towards what you want to become in order to manifest whatever you want to manifest. Now, the do, how can we explain this? Do, your actions must be based and mirrored on the mental attitude generated at any point in time for ideal trajectory and measured instancy to your goals. And that is energy. You can see that worth is being underlined, energy is being underlined right here. Take note of that. You know, I've said it in one of my poems that for you to get the real picture of the universe, you need to think in terms of worth, energy, and reality. Those are the three key things. So now the final one, which is have, the manifestation. Have is the manifestation of reality at any point in time. At any point in time. It is the creative achievement. It is the creative achievement of who you model your be state into at free will. So the have is the manifestation of reality at any point in time. And it is the creative achievement of who you model your be state, which is this one, be state. You know, what you model or who you model that be state into at free will. So basically, you can see that by that definition alone, you can even manifest whatever it is you want to manifest. So now let's look at the system. Now the do, which is the action phase, is the trajectory towards the point of achievement. Now you can see the trajectory we have where the black pen and red pen, which is, you know, the combination of your be and have. And if that trajectory is proper and it is the ideal trajectory, then you will arrive at what you want to achieve. Now, what is it that we need to use in expanding the universe to achieve what we want to do, or what we want to be, or contracting the universe to, you know, focus as to instantiate, you know, the virtual blueprint? What we're going to use to achieve that will be attention. So when you focus your attention on something, you are contracting time, energy, interaction. You are warping time energy into entanglement in such a way that it contracts toward what you are focusing on. So it will focus on that particular thing, and by focusing on that thing, you have gathered all the energies of the universe upon that particular thing. And then for you to now manifest that thing into reality, you need to relax attention. And by relaxing attention, you'll expand time energy wave interaction in such a way that you create room for that thing to emerge and become a reality. So that is how we can actually manifest anything. And then when you what you see here is related to time energy wave model that we have right there at the spacious point, which is the present phase. You can see that we have instantiation of classical reality, which is achievement. We have that right here. So we have the arbitrary suspension just as we have in that time energy wave model too, because the suspension must be relativistically connected to the real mass was for that mass was to be localized. And so at the quantum level, you see we have the suspension right here, and then we have the instantiation of quantum reality achievement, which is outside the system. So basically, for us to focus, we need to let the positron, which is the antimatter of electron, to get into the system to contract, for us to focus on something, and then for us to relax, we have to eject the antimatter out of the system for us to expand the time energy wave model. So a typical example of how you can do this is, for instance, let's say you want to solve a particular problem. You want to solve a particular problem. If you deliberate, if you know deliberate, you deliberate on that particular problem, you spend time, you focus on the problem, you are gathering all the necessary energy for you to really understand the problem in such a way that you'll be able to solve it. But basically, the thing is that once you get that instantiated into your system, then you will need to relax that focusing of attention so that there will be spacious room for the emergence of the necessary solution to the problem. So that is how we can actually manifest anything we want to manifest in the whole of the universe. So you can see that this is quite different from the videos I've been watching. We have the visual representation of how to manifest, and then we have formula that we can use to manifest. So that is that. So this is, you can see that the system we use is a novel discovery. So I'm going to put a link to my research publication in the description below. If you like the video for it, don't hesitate to smash the like button. Then make sure you share this with your friends who want it to travel as far as why. So in my subsequent videos, I will talk more on how we can actually, manifest any state we want to be. How we can be financial buoyant and things like that, relatively to the reality of the universe. So the reality of the universe has empowered us to achieve so many great things. So that is that. All glory be to Almighty God. God bless you.